Hi, this is Trey Passer. I'm going to do my, as promised, my Criterion collection. I gathered all my Criterions together and have them right over here on the floor here. So I'm just going to present these. It's not as many as I thought I had, but it's a decent collection, I think, Criterion. So let me just grab the first little pile here. Okay, let's see. Let's do this. Okay, first movie I got is Red River. This is a Western John Wayne, dual format Blu-ray and DVD. It's like a double pack thing. I love this. I gotta watch the special features. I've seen Red River. This is Montgomery Clift and John Wayne. It's a really great Western father and son type of relationship between the two characters. And it's a really, really good Western. I love this one. I think Howard Hawks directed this. Yep, Howard Hawks. Yes, but it's a really good Western. John Wayne, one of his better Westerns, with Montgomery Clift, a young Montgomery Clift in this as well. Really well done, and has a ton of special features on this, which I gotta look. But it comes like a double pack thing. Has uh, making guns on the Chisholm, Carolina Trail, Chisolano Trail. Anyway, it's a really good Western. I've seen this a couple of times, and it's just really good. Okay, now this next criterion is All That Heaven Allows. This is Rock Hudson and Jane Wyman's. You'll blank on her name for a minute. This is a really good film directed by Douglas Sirk, who had a certain style of movie that he did. I forgot what it's called. I forgot what they call it. He has a certain style of film that he made and was actually emulated by another director, which I can't remember his name now. I have a couple of his movies, but anyway, but Douglas Sirk is basically the story about an older woman who, after I think her husband passed, she has a relationship with a younger guy, and of course her family disapproves of it. All That Heaven's Allowed. It's a really good film. Okay, I remember seeing this on AMC, I think, years ago, and has a new 2K restoration to it and stuff. But it's a really good movie. 1950, All That Heavens Allow, really good movie. Definitely recommend that one. And this next one is a movie by James L. Brooks. It's a great cast. William Hurt, Howard Brooks, and Holly Hunter. Of course, this is our broadcast news, basically about the Holly Hunter. She like a news producer, and I think Albert Brooks works for her, and of course William Hurt is the anchor, the empty suit, as it were, and Albert Brooks is the funny guy who's really in love with her, and of course, and it's a really good, actually a good movie, just by James, written and directed by James L. Brooks, and definitely worth watching. It's been a while since I've seen that. Okay, now this next movie is actually is another western. I love my westerns, and this one is starring Glen Ford and Van Heflin, and this is 3:10 to Yuma, the original, okay, not the remake, Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. 3:10 to Yuma, about this outlaws basically being has to wait for and hence the title 3:10 to Yuma, and basically this guy's coming to try to break him out. It's black and white, 1957 Western, a really good movie. I like this movie. The Russell Crowe movie was good, and Christian Bale, but I like this movie better, just because I like westerns and I like the actors involved in this. And it's just a real good story, about, like I said, because Glen Ford, the bad guy, just like Russell Crowe in the remake, is a charismatic bad guy. He's not just a bad guy to be bad. He's really charismatic, and kind of lends to the story. And of course, Van Heflin is really good as this desperate farmer who's basically, had took up this assignment because he needs the money to feed his family. Okay, and it's a really good western. Okay, now this next movie, I may actually watch this movie. I went to when I was in school. I actually went to see this movie. We read the book, and we actually went to see the actual movie. This actual movie in the theaters. And I'm talking about Roman Polanski's Tess, the Tess of the Daredevils, about this poor girl that basically has to marry this real rich guy for her family, and she really loves this other guy. And of course, it's Roman Polanski, and this came out in 1979. 171 minutes. First, this stars, of course, what's her name? Natasha Kinski, who's absolutely beautiful, and this is like a star-making role for her, who's absolutely beautiful in this, and does a really good acting in this. And this is just a beautifully shot film. Again, another movie by Roman Polanski. His personal issues aside, this movie is just really fantastic. Like I said, remember, I didn't appreciate it, of course, in school because the book was like that thick. But I really liked the movie when we actually went as a trip to see the movie in theaters and stuff, and I really wound up liking the movie. So and I always had a special place. It really really made me like the movie. And so let's test. Okay, now this next movie is another really a classic in my opinion. Robert Mitchum, Shelley Winters, Night of the Hunter, and this is directed by Charles Laughton. Okay, I think one of the few films that he directed. But it's really good about this smooth talking guy who basically marries women, basically, marries them for their money and winds up killing them. And of course, he winds up marrying this Shelley Winters character, and her two kids are onto him, and he's basically, trying to get them. And hence the title, Night of the Hunter. And it's a really good, creepy movie. This has been really good. Okay, this next movie, Criterion's Alfred Hitchcock movie, which of course his movie should be on Criterion's. Of course, and I'm talking about Alfred Hitchcock's Foreign Correspondent. Now, this movie is basically, I think this guy has to go overseas, right? Yeah, Joel McCrea, he plays it. Yeah, he goes into Europe to get a scoop on an imminent war, yeah. And it's really good. It's a suspense thriller. He has to find, like, who's doing the sabotage and stuff. And it really has all these twists and turns in it. And it's a really good movie. Alfred Hitchcock, Foreign Correspondent. Like I said, I didn't see this movie until I bought it years ago. I didn't even know this was one of his. I knew about some more famous movies, but not that one. Okay, now, this next movie is a movie by David Lynch. And I'm talking about Mulholland Drive. I really, this movie is like surreal. This movie, I think, originally was supposed to be a TV show. But they wound up making it, I think it did, the pilot, he made the pilot, I think, and then the pilot, I think, it picked up, and then he made it into a movie. Of course, and it stars young Naomi Watts in this, and Justin Theroux's in this as well as what's her name? Yeah, actually, I can't remember her name. Laura Elena Herring. Ann Miller's in this as well. Dan Hayter. And this is a weird story about this young actress who comes to Hollywood to try to make it, and she gets involved in this mystery. And it has a bunch of twists and turns in this movie, as you would for a David Lynch movie. Tons of twists and turns in this. Beautifully shot, and of course, you have that famous scene of, and the actors just have good chemistry together, and it has a weird mystery to it as well, as most David Lynch movies are. And the movie is just surreal. This is the type of movie that you can watch a couple of times and you try to figure out the mystery of it. Just a really good movie. I had to get this. Mulholland Drive. Big fan of David Lynch. Now, I got another Criterion Western, of course. Now, I'm talking about Henry Fonda, My Darling Clementine, directed by John Ford. I love John Ford Westerns. He's a master of making Westerns. And this one is really good, My Darling Clementine. Of course, this is basically about the fight at the OK Corral. And you basically have Henry Fonda, and who's the other guy that plays Doc Holliday? Oh, yeah. What's his name? Victor Mature. He plays Doc Holliday. And he plays Wyatt Earp. And this is really good. I had it too, like a couple of years ago until I saw this. I didn't, I was more famous with the Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster version of this story, but this is a really good version of the story, My Darling Clementine. Really good Western. Really like that. Now, this movie I bought, I haven't watched it yet, but I bought this because I love Kirk Douglas and I love Stanley Kubrick, and I'll call him Paths of Glory. I heard really good things about this movie, and I definitely got this when the Criterion was on sale. I definitely got to watch this. So look for my review of this pretty soon. I'm going to watch this Stanley Kubrick film basically about this guy that gets him and his regiment gets accused of being cowards and stuff. And so really good. Stanley Kubrick films are just really good, make you think. So that's why I had to pick that one up. And then I got another movie, Clark Gable and Claudette. And this movie won a ton of Oscars. It happened one night. Basically about this reporter talking to this runaway bride, I think. And it's supposed to be really good. And won a ton of Oscars, I think it won, right? Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Screenplay in 1934. So I definitely want to watch this. I love old Hollywood films, so that's why I got this one. And this next movie is, of course, a Russ Myers film, and of course written by the late Roger Ebert, of course, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which is sort of a parody on Valley of the Dolls. So this is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, about this girl group, and them trying to be famous and stuff, and it's just a surreal movie. It's just very weird, and very weird characters in this movie, and I've seen this tons of times over the years, but you have to see this movie. Just the thing Roger Ebert came up with this is just wacky and stuff, and you got to see that. Now, this next movie is a Jonathan Demme film, Something Wild, starring young Jeff Daniels and what's her name? Ray Liotta's in this as well, and Melanie Griffin. And I really liked it. I remember seeing this movie with my friend, and there's a scene in the middle of this movie that just came out of nowhere. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. the scene is in a gas station. It just came out of nowhere. I didn't like you watching this movie, and it's about this uptight business guy who meets this wild chick, and she kind of loosens him up and stuff, and she has this crazy boyfriend Ray Liotta, and it's a really good movie. But in the middle of it, there's this scene at the gas station just completely threw me off. Okay, now this next movie is a Brian De Palma film, and he's another great director. John Travolta, Nancy Allen, Blowout. Basically about this guy. He's like a film editor, a sound editor, and he records a murder, and then he tries to figure out the mystery of it. And of course, Nancy Allen, she plays like a prostitute, I think, right? In this, and he's trying to basically solve the mystery. And I think what's called is the bad guy. There's John Lithgow is the bad guy in this. And it's just a really good movie by Brian De Palma. Now this next movie is another Criterion, and this is directed by David Fincher. Okay, Brad Pitt and Kate Winslet, The Curious Case of Benjamin Bratt, and this also has what's called in this as well. What's her name? Tara P. Henson. She's in this as well. Julia Ormond, and it's basically about this guy that he was born old, and then as he gets older, he gets younger. Okay, and Kate Blanchett plays one of the girls that he gets involved with, women that he gets involved with. And it's a weird movie, but it's an enjoyable movie. Okay, there. Now this next couple of things. Okay, now this next movie, another Brian De Palma film, and of course this is Dressed to Kill. Okay, I've seen this movie. This is a thriller. Again, another movie with Nancy Allen in it as well, and Michael Caine is in this as well. Basically about this killer going around, and I'm trying to find the mystery of finding out who this killer is and stuff. And a psychiatrist who deals with it. And Angie Dixon's in this as well. She's in this for this famous scene, and it's just a really good movie, really mystery thriller. Okay, and I think Keith, what's his name, is in this, right? Keith, what's the guy? I think Keith. I've got the guy's name, who plays the young guy the brainiac teenage son who with the prostitute try to piece the kind together. I forgot his name. He was in Christine. I've got Keith. I got his last name, but it's a really good thriller. Michael Caine is in this as well. Now, this next movie, of course, is a movie by Sidney Pollack, starring Dustin Hoffman. He won the Academy Award, I think. And Dustin Hoffman. This is Tootsie, about this out-of-work actor who basically has to dress up like a woman to get a part. And it has a great cast in it. I think Sally Field is in this. Bill Murray. No, not Sally Field. Sally Field's not in this. I'm sorry. Dustin Hoffman, Jessica Lange, Terry Garr, Dabney Coleman, Charles Durning. I was thinking about Soap Dish. That has Sally Field in it. That's not this. But anyway, it's a really good movie. And very funny, very wacky comedy. Tootsie. And then this next movie, I did see. This movie I saw it in school. I think we were reading the play or whatever, and then we actually saw the movie in school. And I remember this Marlon Brando on the waterfront, about this directed by Eli Kazan, about this washed-up boxer who could have been a contender and made that great speech and stuff. And it has a great cast in this. Marlon Brando, of course, Carl Malden, Lee J. Cobb, Rod Steiger. Just a really good movie about this guy who basically had to take a dive, and his brother, he makes a great speech on how his brother should have protected him. Brothers in the mob, and a young what's in this as well. I think what's her name, Eva Marie Saint. I think this is her first film in this, and she plays a love interest. A really good film. Okay. Now this next movie is another Stanley Kubrick film, and this is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. And this is a great film about during the Cold War, and has great cast in it. And Peter Sellers is a standout in this to me. He plays three different characters, and three distinctive characters in there. Of course, Dr. Strangelove, of course, and President, and a British Army officer. It's just a real movie. You got to watch this movie. This movie is just, you got to watch it, about the Cold War, and definitely has a deeper meaning in this, and you got to watch that. Now, this next movie is another Western, believe it or not, and this stars one of my favorite actors, of course, Glen Ford, and it's also Ernest Borgnine and Rod Steiger, and this is Jubel, and this is basically about a guy who's like a drifter, and he comes to this farm where Ernest Borgnine has this young hot wife, and everybody's thinking, and Ernest Borgnine is insanely jealous, and he thinks everybody is after his wife, and he actually thinks Jubel is after his wife when he really isn't. And it's a really good Western character piece, actually. And they describe it like this: in the Shakespearean tale of jealousy and betrayal, Ford is an honorable interment cattleman, befriended and hired by a organized, big-hearted rancher owner despite his unwillingness to talk about his past. When he becomes the object of attentions of the owner's bored wife and is entrusted with the foreman's responsibility, his presence seems to rattle a shifty fellow cowhand played by Rye Sager. Really good Western, very underrated. I remember seeing that on AMC and really liking that. That's why I got it when it came on the Criterions. Now, this next movie, of course, is a classic, okay? And, of course, this is directed by, wait a minute. Yeah, Sidney Lumet, of course. I'm talking about 12 Angry Men. What a cast. Henry Fonda, Jack Klugman is in this, Lee J. Cobb, Ed Begley, E.J. Marshall, Jack Ward, Martin Paulson, John Fielder, Joseph Sweeney. This is a great cast in this. Basically about these guys on the jury, and then, you know, one guy to just is holding out basically, and the other guys are trying to convince him. And it's a really good Western, really good character study. And this next movie I haven't seen yet, but I got this because it's a Terrence Malick film, and I've heard really good things about it, but I haven't watched it yet. I gotta give it a watch one day. The Thin Red Line, and this again has an all-star cast in this. Let me read some of the names in this. Jim Caviezel, Thomas Jane, Elias Koteas, Sean Penn, just a great cast in this. Woody Harrelson, Sean Penn, Nick Nolte's in this. Okay, this is about a war, right? A Thin Red Line. I think this is about World War II. Yep, World War II. And definitely gotta watch this. Give this a watch. I haven't watched it yet, but I heard good things. That's why I got it, because I want to watch it. I love a good war film. And this movie I saw, and this is Kiss Me Deadly, a Mickey Spillane latest H-bomb. And this is basically about a private eye, right? Mickey Spillane, yeah, Rob Meeker stars this thing, Mike Hammer, yep. And it takes place during the 50s, so you got the Cold War thrown in there as well. And he's a private eye. It's a really good movie, actually. Kiss Me Deadly. Okay? Now, grab the next few things. This next movie is a sci-fi classic. Of course, I'm talking about The Blob, starring a young Steve McQueen in this. Even though the guy who played his father in this movie I think was a couple of years older than him in real life. And Steve McQueen does not look like a teenager in this movie. I'm sorry. They try to make it off like he's a teenager in this, a rebel teenager, but he's not a, come on, Steve McQueen looks like a grown man, okay, in this, and because I'm not buying him being a teenager, but it's a good message. And this is a movie that the remake was actually, I think, better. This movie was kind of, you know, it was kind of hokey, but I think the remake of this was actually pretty decent. I like the remake of this movie, which I have to get on Blu-ray. I think the remake was actually pretty good. Now, this next movie is a Robert Altman film, Three Women. I didn't hear about this, but it's basically about these three different women, and it's a really weird movie. Shelley Duvall gives a great performance in this, and a young Sissy Spacek in this, and it's just a really good movie. It's very weird. I mean, you got to watch this movie. This lady that befriends this young nurse that comes in, Shelley Duvall, and it's very weird. You got to watch it. And there's another actress in this that I'm trying to remember what her name is. It's in this. That's why it's called Three Women, because those two women and then another woman. But it's just a very surreal movie. You have to watch it to fully understand, get all the ins and outs. And then this next movie is it's a classic to me, and this is M, a Fritz Lang film, M, starring a young Peter Lorre. And this is has a real serious subject matter about a serial killer that's going around killing little kids and stuff in the town that gets spooked, and they try to find out who the serial killer is. They even have the criminals teaming up to find out who the serial killer is, because, you know, it's hurting business because the cops are shutting everything down because they're trying to find this serial killer that's killing kids. It's a really dark tale and really, really good. And now this next movie, of course, is the original Godzilla, Criterion. This came out a few years ago, and this is the original one in black and white. Classic movie in my opinion. Really love that, and I'm looking forward to, you know, Godzilla, King Kong movie coming out, and of course, you know, the King Kong Godzilla movie. Now this next movie is another Western, John Ford, and this is the movie that they said it made John Wayne a star, Stagecoach, about this group of people that, excuse me, have to travel on a stagecoach. Okay, and John Wayne plays this, you know, what's this character's name? I forgot the character's name, but he plays a rough cowboy, and they got Claire Trevor, who plays the prostitute, who's looked down upon by her fellow passengers and stuff, and has a whole bunch of different characters in this, and it's a really good movie. I'm trying to get from one point to the next on the Stagecoach, and again, this movie is the movie that made John Wayne a star, Stagecoach. Now, this next movie is the original of movies that have been made after this, Magnificent Seven, you know, and all those movies that came before. Of course, I'm talking about Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. I did a review of this movie a long time ago, early on when I first started my channel. I love this movie. This is a classic, basically about this town that basically hired samurai to come in to defend them against, you know, they're being, basically, I think they were getting ripped off by this warlord, so they hire these 7 samurai to come to defend them. And it's a classic, and you have to see it because it has all these 7 different characters in it, and it's a really good. This is the original that all the movies that came after emulated. Okay, and a great film by Akira Kurosawa. And let's see. Now, this next movie is a classic, another Roman Polanski film. Of course, Rosemary's Baby, horror film starring Mia Farrow. Ruth Gordon's in this. John Cassavetes plays her husband. Basically about this woman that giving birth to the devil's kid. It's a really surreal film. You got to watch it. It's just very weird. Okay, now this next movie is a horror movie, which I love a good horror movie. And this is The Uninvited, starring Ray Milland. And it's about a pair of siblings that they purchase affordable housing, but then of course they turn out the house is kind of haunted. And it's a really good mystery to try to find out what exactly is going on. Okay, now this next movie is another movie by what's his name? Yep, Terrence Malick again. Yep, and this stars a young, believe it or not, Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek in this. And I'm talking about Badlands, about this, you know, guy. I think he breaks out of prison. I think he breaks out of prison, right? No, this is about the real life serial killer Charles Starkweather, killing spree, and you know he broke out with it, and of course he kidnaps this young girl, Sissy Spacek, who goes along for the ride. It's a really good movie. I saw this years ago on cable. You're gonna get a young Martin Sheen who looks like his, or his son looks like him, Emilio Estevez. Now this next movie is another Hitchcock movie. I love this movie. 39 Steps, basically about a guy who gets framed, Rob Donette, conspiracy. He gets framed for, and he basically has to try to find out who was killing him, right? I think, hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, this is, a guy, he gets conspiracy, he gets conspiracy, have to chase across Scottish moors, pursuer and pursued, and he's trying to find out who, right, is this the one? I think this is the one, where he gets basically, he gets framed and he has to try to find out, you know, who was the, who framed him and stuff, and he's trying to find the sort of 39 steps, and it goes all across the world with that. And let's see, this next movie is, okay, The Royal Tenenbaums, of course, Wes Anderson film about this wacky, this totally dysfunctional family. Great cast in it. You got Gene Hackman, Angela Houston. You got Bill Murray in there, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Stiller, Luke Wilson, and Owen Wilson in this as well. Just quite this weird dysfunctional family. And Gene Hackman is like the patriot who's estranged from his family. And it's a really good wacky characters in this. And I'm not a big fan of Wes Anderson, but this is a good movie. Okay, now this next movie is called The Game, and another movie directed by David Fincher, starring Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. Michael Douglas is like a real rich guy. He has a ne'er-do-well brother who gets him this unique gift for a birthday present, where he basically, you know, he gets thrust inside of this mystery, and he has to try to solve it. The Game, actually a really good movie. Now this next movie has been remade, I think at least 3 times, I think. And I really like, this is the original, Four Feathers, and this is basically the story about a guy. Hold on, I want to make sure I get this right, because I saw the remake first, and then I saw the original, and I love the original. About a young officer who is accused of cowardice after he resigns his post on the eve of a major. He must fight to redeem himself. Yeah, because I think what happens is they, you know, they're in the regiment and they get ready to fight, go to war, and I think he resigns because he has doubts. Yeah, he has doubts, and plus he, you know, I think his father is like elderly and stuff, but he has doubts. He actually, you know, instead of somebody being all gun ho for war, he has doubts about himself and stuff, and whether he, whether he would shrink in battle, he has doubts, and he basically he gets handed 4 feathers from his uh, fellow soldiers. They hand him 4 feathers, which is basically saying that you're a coward, and he was engaged, of course, and then I think he breaks off the engagement with her, and then when he finds out that his troops are in trouble, he actually goes to save them. He actually goes and actually goes undercover to try to save his 4 friends. Actually showing that he is not just a coward. He's just a man with doubts, but in the end he's heroic anyway. And it's a really good movie. 4 Feathers, really good human drama. I really like that movie. Okay, this is the last of it. Hold on, let's do this last of it. Okay, now this next movie, of course, is our introduction to the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, and I gotta watch all the special features in this. But I remember this. It has all the great songs in it, and has the great Beatles, and shows you the personalities of the Beatles and why they became world famous. Okay, Hard Day's Night. And then this next movie is the movie directed by Terry Gilliam. Of course, I'm talking about Time Bandits. Has a great cast and a couple of people from Mighty Pythons in this. I think Sean Connery's in this, David Warner. It's just a really good movie about this young kid, right, who escapes his to join a band of time-traveling dwarfs. It's a really good movie. It's been a while since I've seen this, but I remember going to see this in the theater, and there's this great particular cover there. But a really good movie, Time Bandits. I definitely recommend that. Now this movie, next movie is Blue is the Warmest Color, about this one particular girl who meets and has a relationship, and it's really a really good movie about her, especially her sexual awakening, and it's a really good movie. I forgot one of the actresses in this. I forgot the name of her. She became one of the Bond girls in I think Spectra. Yeah, but this is a really good movie about this intense relationship and the sexual openness of this one particular girl and her relationships and stuff. It's a really intense movie. Okay, there we go. And now this is another movie starring one of my favorite actors. What's his name? What is his name? Claude Rains. And this is called Here Comes Mr. Jordan. Basically the story about a guy who dies before his time, accidentally gets taken before his time, and he's a boxer, and then he gets put back in a new body, and Claude Rains is like the angel that's guiding him on and stuff, and he gets put in this rich guy's body, and it's a really good movie. It's been remade a lot of times. Warren Beatty, Heaven Can Wait was the name of that movie, but this is the original for that, and this is a really good movie, 94 minutes, and it's a really black and white, really good performances from the lead guy, Robert Montgomery, okay, and Claude Rains is the angel, and I really like this movie, really good comedy and drama, okay. Now this next movie is called Gilda, directed by Charles Vidal, Rita Hayworth, I think Portugal's in this one too, yeah, Glen Ford, yep, and this is one of the great, this is about a sultry Hayworth in her most iconic role as a must-lusted after wife of a criminal kingpin, as well as the former flame of his bitter henchman, and she drives them both mad with desire and jealousy. Yeah, I remember that. I think he goes down to Glen Ford, like her ex-lover. He goes down. I think she's in South America or something like that, and he goes down there and gets mixed up with her. It's a really good, actually, good drama and stuff. And Rita Hayworth and Glen Ford have good chemistry in this. Really good movie. So I haven't seen that in a while. And these next are 4 films, are Charlie Chaplin films, which I haven't really watched, but I got these because these Charlie Chaplin films. I want to get all the Charlie Chaplin films. And this first one is The Kid. Okay, I think young Jackie Coogan is in this, right? Yep, Jackie Coogan in this, The Kid. Okay, and this next one is The Gold Rush. Okay, you got that. And this next one is called The Great Dictator. I think Charlie Chaplin plays 2 roles, and he plays like right? Then he play a character of Ella Hitler, and then like a regular guy that they get to replace him. The Great Dictator, and then of course Modern Times. And I think there's another Criterion with Charlie Chaplin, which I don't have. But like I said, I'm going to try to do a marathon of Charlie Chaplin films just to review those, because I definitely want to see those. I'm a big fan of old Hollywood, so definitely that's why I got those when the Criterions were on sale. And this last but not least is a Michael Mann film, Thief, starring James Caan. I heard really good things about this, but I haven't watched it yet. And Tuesday Wells in this as well, Willie Nelson. But it's supposed to be real good about a thief. Was a real performance as a no-nonsense ex-con safecracker planning on to leave the criminal world behind after one final diamond heist, but discovering that escape was not as simple as he hoped. See? but I heard really good things. That's why I got Thief. Okay, so that's my criterions, and I know this is a long video, but I wanted to get it all in there. So that's my criterions. Let me know what you think of those, of these titles. What do you think of them? Feel free to leave comments down below. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button down below. This is Trey Pastor saying so long. Take care.